From the US's East Africa outreach, we now turn to West Africa, a region that has become a flashpoint for geopolitical rivalry between the West and Russia. And some recent developments reflect this escalating competition. Bola Tinubu, the president of Nigeria, a country seen as a Western ally, has headed for France on a working visit. Meanwhile, the foreign ministers from the junta-led states of Niger, Mali and Burkina Faso are visiting Moscow to strengthen ties with Russia. Tinubu's two-week trip to France, however, is not a conventional diplomatic outreach. Instead, the president calls it a retreat for self-reflection on his administration's performance. Now, according to his office, the visit aims to assess mid-term achievements, to review the ongoing reforms, and to shape national development priorities. It remains unclear whether he will meet with the French government officials or other foreign leaders. Now, this is not the first time that Tinubu has embarked on a self-reflection trip. Since taking office in 2023, he has made several such international trips, often sparking criticism from many in Nigeria. Critics argue that these trips are costly, excessive, and a distraction from pressing domestic issues. However, the president defends these retreats. France remains his most frequently visited destination, the same France that has been ousted from several West African nations. Tinubu's visit coincides with a high-profile trip by the foreign ministers from Mali, Burkina Faso and Niger to Russia. And these three countries have abandoned the West-backed regional bloc ECOWAS, of which Nigeria's Tinubu is the current chair. They have now formed their own alliance, the Confederation of Sahel States, known as the AES, and this marks their first official visit to Russia since forming their alliance. During their Moscow visit, the foreign ministers will meet with Russian counterpart Sergei Lavrov to discuss the deepening cooperation in defense, security, and economic development. The AES considers this a pivotal step in advancing their strategic objectives. These three nations were once key allies of their former colonizer, France. But after military coups swept through their governments, they have shifted allegiances toward Russia. Now, Russia, through its Wagner mercenary group, now rebranded as the Africa Corps, has already provided military support, and new defense agreements have been signed between Moscow and the AES states. Collaboration in the energy and mining sectors is also underway. Now, the visit follows the AES's decision to withdraw from multiple international organizations and to establish a joint 5,000-strong military force to combat regional terrorism. So while West Africa is at a crossroads, with nations choosing between Western alliances and Russian influence, Tinubu's visit to France and the AES's ministers' trip to Moscow highlight this shifting landscape, one that will shape the region's future.
Greeting you with aloha and namaste.
No, I love India.
Presence, occupation of a territory by another country pertains to India, what we saw in Kashmir.
The Prime Minister Modi.
How do you see Trump's America?
Yes, the current administration behaves differently from the previous administration.
Are you saying that there are foreign powers who are trying to bring down the current government in Syria?
Exactly.
Bluntly, Iran, maybe Russia too.
Prime Minister Modi committed to South-South, cooperation.
For both sides.
Not over 50%.
Is Ukraine prepared to pay the price for that peace?
No compromises at the cost of territorial integrity and sovereignty.